This is a lesson on 4.8, long division of polynomials. Is actually my red class. So we just worked out practicing long division with numbers. We practiced that. We did 50,721 divided by 48, and we worked that out, got 1,098, and a remainder of 17 over 48. So we just practiced that before we are trying to do this type of division with polynomials. All right. Before we actually do division with polynomials, one kind of concept we have to have in play. Write this down, everybody. There's certain problems where whenever you do long division, you want to express your dividend. Remember, when you do division, remember it's what's on the inside. There's the dividend, right? And what's this thing? Not dividends. Dividend. What's the number on the outside there? Remember? The divisor, right? Is anybody in this room? All right. And the results, yeah, you're allowed to talk, just don't talk randomly. And then the quotients, right? Thank you. Okay. So there's going to be some problems. We always, whenever we're doing long division with polynomials, we always want the dividend and the divisor to be in descending order of the powers. So let's make sure we know how to do that. So write down this polynomial as is, and then I want you to write it in descending order of powers. We need to make sure we know how to do that. So 5x squared plus 7x cubed minus 9 minus 3x. And 3x is to the first power. So I want to go descending order of the powers. So that means start at the top and go down. So what would be the first term out right here? 7x cubed plus 5x squared minus, remember, any subtraction goes with the number, okay? 3x minus 9. So that's going to come up a little later, okay? All right, so let's do this. Let's practice some long division with polynomials. This is very exciting, right? Okay. Page move. All right, so the first problem you see there is this is what it looks like when you're in your textbook. It looks like when it's presented. The first problem is presented like this. It says divide this polynomial by x plus 1. Well, what we then want to do is put it in use your division apparatus there, right? Long division apparatus, and write your dividend on the inside and write your divisor on the outside. Not for me. So, you know. All right.
I did.
So, I don't actually think it is, but it's just, but it's not going to be easy. I don't think any of this is easy the first time you try it, okay? All right. So, thinking back to that problem we did before, remember, what did we do when we did this long division with numbers? We said, how many 48s go into 52? We sort of do the same thing in this problem right here. What we do is we say, now listen closely. Here, start with this again. All right. So what I want to do is I say, what times, here's how I start. And just watch this. This is the hardest part, just know how to start. I want to say, how many x's are there in x squared?
2.
Well, x of them, okay? Because let me rephrase it. What would you multiply x by to get x squared? X. Now, I'm going to put that x over the term that has the same power, okay? You got to put it right there. You can't put it here because you won't be able to stay organized. Now, what did I do let's go back to this real quick. What did I do when I said how many 48s go into 52? Well, I said there's 1, and I multiplied 1 by 48, and I put it underneath it. Well, that's what I'm going to do over here as well, right? I'm going to multiply the x by the x plus 1, and I'll get, x times x squared, plus x times 1 is x, right? And now you'll see why I'm going to do this. I got parentheses around that, and I'm going to put a subtraction sign.
So it says if you were to distribute the x.
Yes, exactly. That's very good, because I'm distributing the x to the x plus 1. It's a very good way to think of that. And then I write it just like that. And it's important to put parentheses, because when I subtract, I got to subtract x squared, and I got to subtract x. So I can distribute the subtraction. So what's x squared minus x squared?
0.
0. So I don't need to put anything. What's 5x minus x?
4x.
And then what do I do with long division? I
Plus
bring down the plus 4. Okay? And then I want to say, what times x equals 4x?
4.
4. So right, plus 4. And now I'll distribute the 4 to the x plus 1. So 4 times x, 4x. 4 times 1 plus 4. Whenever that happens, that means you have no remainder. Because 4x minus 4x, 0. 4 minus 4, 0. So I can just go ahead and circle that.
So you can take segues of it at the same time. I guess you say like at the very beginning, where.
That's definitely what I'm doing. I'm kind of doing it just like you do with numbers. I mean, it's a little bit different because you don't have the plus signs in there, right?
And
But,
since they're all the same stoppers, do they have to be in that same order?
I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Like,
Well, you definitely have to have these in order.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we did that very first problem when I said do this in descending order. Yeah, you've got to have that. It won't be all a big mess. All right. So next one. X squared minus 5x plus 6. This is the way it's presented in the problem presented as do the division here. Well, you want to rewrite it in kind of a long division format, okay?
yeah, we do very good.
Hmm.
We're doing this for right now.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to continue to show you a few more before I set it free. I think we should do it together initially.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
Okay, so does everybody have it written out like this yet?
Yeah.
All right, so remember the way we start is we look at the first term here and the first term here. We say what times x equals x squared? X, once again, it's x. Then I distribute the x to both terms. And it's x squared, what? Minus 2x. Put parentheses around and subtract. Because x times x, and then x times negative 2 minus 2x. All right, now look, I have x squared minus x squared. What's that? 0. Negative 5x minus negative 2x. Right there. Negative 3x. Nope, because it's negative 5x minus negative, so plus. And then plus 6. Bring down to plus 6. What times x equals negative 3x? Minus 3, right? So important to stay very organized here. Negative 3 times x? Negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 2?
Negative 6.
And once again, I have a remainder of 0. I'm hoping I didn't make sure that any of my problems, there's only one problem that has a remainder there. In the, if I have to, I'll make one up at the end.
Subtracting negative 3x, wouldn't that be?
Well, remember, it's negative 3x minus negative, so plus 3x. So
How do you know when you're adding it?
well, you're always subtracting just like you do in long division. Okay? So you're always subtracting, but when you're subtracting a binomial, you have to distribute the negative, right? You have to distribute the subtraction. All right, another one on that page. Next one. All right, so a little harder now. Now I got two variables involved. So get that one down. So 2x squared plus 5xy minus 3y squared. All that divided by x plus 3y. Well, I'm still not ready to set you free, but I mean, you can go ahead in front of me if you want, but I don't. I think this guy, because each of these is a little bit different, so it's a brand new scenario. All right, so start with, look at the first term here. X times what equals 2x squared?
2x.
Everybody agree with that? 2x?
Yes, because you're right.
Okay, you're right, yeah. So put that above the middle term there, even though that doesn't have, even though this doesn't have a y. Distribute here, 2x times x.
2x squared.
2x times 3y.
Oh, that's 6xy.
6xy. Parentheses, subtract. 2x squared minus 2x squared?
0.
0. 5xy
Negative.
minus 6xy.
Negative xy.
Everybody agree? Bring down the minus 3y squared there. All right, now, tricky now. What times x equals negative xy?
Y.
Negative y.
Negative.
Why? Why?
Wait, because it's time.
Who's on
Because
first
it's culture.
Okay.
What times x
No. Okay, yeah, what times x equals negative xy?
Negative y.
Negative y, okay? So negative y times x, negative xy. Negative y times 3y
3y
minus
squared.
3y squared. Parentheses, subtract. Negative xy minus negative, that's 0, right?
Yes, sir.
Negative 3y squared minus negative 3y squared, that's also 0. So that one comes out evenly.
Wait, how did you?
Make
It would be, then it's y times
only
3.
15.
Yeah, and y times 3y is, remember, but you count the negative one. So negative y times 3y is negative 3y squared.
Okay.
Right? All right. Now, this big mess down below here, we have a little work to do before we, so this one, this is like one of the problems in the homework. They try to mess you up here, but you won't fall for it, right?
Sure.
Because you are prepared. All right. Now, on this one, you're not going to proceed as is. You got to get things all in the right order. So we're gonna, before we try to do the long division, we're going to rewrite it. So how am I going to? So write it like that, so you know that it's, you'll see one like that. But how do I rewrite this one?
Oh, you can
Oh,
do.
2x squared. And
Got it? Minus 10x
Minus 28.
minus 28. Everybody else see why I did that? I got it in descending order of powers. That's why we did that in that sample problem in the beginning. How do I rewrite the divisor?
2x.
2x plus 4.
Got it. All right. So everybody understand? I got everything in descending order. I always want to proceed like that. All right. So, what times 2x equals 2x squared?
x.
X, very good. So, x times 2x, 2x squared, x times 4 plus 4x. But I'm going to be subtracting here, so be careful. Negative 10, I'm sorry, 2x squared minus 2x squared, 0, right? Negative 10x minus 4x.
Negative 14x.
Yeah, is everybody okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Minus 28. Okay. Okay, read. Okay.
I don't understand why we are subtracting 4x.
Because remember, you're subtracting all of this, right? Not just the item in front of it.
Where did the 4x come from?
4x came from x times 2x. Remember, well, this came from x times 2x, all right?
Yes.
And then x times 4.
Oh, okay.
All right? Now, what times 2x equals negative 14x?
Okay. 7x.
Just negative 7, right? Not negative 7x, just negative 7.
Wait, why?
No, it's positive 7. You have to
Oh,
subtract
it's
it.
7.
No, it'd be negative because
It's gonna
when
be
you do,
negative.
when you do negative 14
And then we're gonna subtract. And then now make it positive, right? You want the same thing to show up, right? So you see, Kevin, because when I subtract, then that's when everything will go to zero. Because otherwise, I mean, be doubling. All right, so that came out clean too. All right, okay. Is there any problem on that page? All right, is that one? Okay, all right. All right. Well, again, I'm showing you all the different types, so. All right, now this one, x squared minus 16 divided by x minus 4. This is missing a term, so you have to put a faux term in there to make it work, a faux term or false term. So I'm going to rewrite this. X squared plus 0x minus 16, all that divided by x minus 4. So if I don't put that in there, it won't come out. Yes, read.
How can you conclude that there is a term missing?
Because if there's a degree of the power missing, like there's no x to the first term,
It goes down.
you're gonna have to have a term to match up for everything. Yep.
Have to have like an x to the third only, like an x.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah, I have x to the second, and that's the champion term of polynomial. Well, we'll see this one's missing 2 terms down here, right? So,
Oh, so and you just put 0 and.
right.
So the one down there will be x
Zero.
Yep. Okay, so let's get back to it. Okay, cut down the back from that number is being recorded. So what times x equals x squared?
X.
So that's x squared minus 4x. Remember, I'm subtracting. So x squared minus x squared is 0. 0x minus negative 4x.
4x.
Minus 16. Okay. X times what equals 4x?
4.
Wouldn't it be negative 4x?
No, because when we subtract, I want to know what times x equals 4x, so it's positive 4, right? When I subtract everything, it'll get zeroed out. So circle, that's your quotient, right? Okay. All right. All right, what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to change this, because I want there to be a remainder. So I'm going to change this to a 7. So everybody change this to a 7 so we end up with a remainder.
What?
Change it to x cubed minus 7, because I got to show you there is one problem in homework where you have a remainder. So let's make it x cubed minus 7 divided by x minus 2. All right, so let's change the problem. All right, so we've got to put in our faux terms here, right?
Why are they called
That's just what I call them.
poker?
O-F-A-U-X is
So
French
you call
for
them
false.
imposter terms?
Foster terms, fine.
Imposters. No, we wouldn't.
Imposter, you don't know.
Imposter.
Imposter term.
Imposters.
Imposter term.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Imposters.
And
Yeah.
imposter.
Yeah, okay,
Why did you just add?
so why did I put those in there? Because we won't be able to do the long division without those. It's like if you had a 0 in a number. It's like if you had 15,003 divided by 27 and that didn't include the zeros, right? Trying to do the long division without the zeros.
Why did you add, how do you know when to add 0x squared and 0x?
I look at my highest degree of my dividend, and if I don't have, if it's x cubed, and I don't have an x squared, I gotta get it in there. If I don't have an x, I gotta get it in there. If I don't have a constant term, I have to get it in there. All right, so let's proceed on this one. What times x equals x cubed?
3x.
X squared, right? Right? X squared times x cubed. X squared times -2,
Wait, why is the one on top x squared?
because I gotta get an x cubed this time.
So when it be x cubed?
Well, then if I multiply it by the x's, remember I'm distributing this, it will be x to the fourth if I multiply, because remember I'm saying x squared times x cubed. X squared times -2, -2x squared. Remember, subtract, gentlemen, please, recording here. 0x squared minus -2x squared. 2x squared plus 0x. Okay, I gotta bring 0x down.
Sir.
X times what equals 2x squared?
Wait, wouldn't it be negative 2x?
2x.
No, but subtracting a negative, so it makes it positive.
Alright.
So that's a good question, I'll have a good clarification. 2x times x, 2x squared. 2x times -2? Minus 4x, right? Parentheses, subtract 0x minus -4x.
4x.
Now, you see, that's why I changed it to going to be a remainder.
Wait,
How many-
2x times x, when that?
It's 2x
Never
squared.
mind.
Okay. What times x equals 4x?
4.
All right, so 4 times x,
At the top, are you always adding?
am I always
Am
right?
I adding?
No, not necessarily. We've had some negatives.
Oh, right.
And then 4 times, and look what happened this time though, we didn't come out evenly, that's why I changed it. So you came up with a remainder of 1,
Yeah.
right? And so we always will say, so r,
Where'd you get 8 from, question?
From 2 times 4.
4 times -2. So my quotient is 2x plus 4 with a remainder, you could say plus or and 1 over x minus 2. Remember that when I did my remainder, I did 1 and I did and 17/48, right? You put your remainder over the divisor.
Wait.
You put your
So,
remainder,
where you got the 8 from?
the 8, 4 times -2. Okay? Let's see.
I think you got it from it.
Yeah, let's see, we may be done here. Nope, we got,
Go back to the.
not quite done.
Like,
All right? All right, now this is the, all right, let's try one more. 2x cubed plus 7x squared plus 4x minus 3. I'll let you guys try that. Okay?
Okay. Wait, can you do the way that we learned it?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys try this.
I'm doing the long, just do it long visually, or can you do it the way it is?
No, you can't do it the other way.
Why not?
Because you've got terms now down here.
Oh.
Okay? All right. There is another way to do this, but that gets into factor. We will learn that later, but it's not the way you've learned already. Okay, I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to go ahead and do the work, and just so I can shorten the video a little bit. But if you guys go work on this, see if you can get it.
That was with the video.
Okay, I just had the class do this problem right here. This one ended up with a remainder of -1 because you have -4 minus -3, that meant +3. And so you ended up with a remainder of -1, which you put over the divisor, but since it was a negative, I made it subtraction of 1 over 2x plus 3. And that's the end of the video.
Bye.